Flip it good. Episode 2. What do you mean? For this lesson, you will need a piece of paper and something to write with. We will now pause the video in order to allow those folks who don't have a piece of paper and something to write with to retrieve their piece of paper and something to write with. We will now resume the video. Hey guys, you ever read a piece of poetry and you get to the end of it and you look like Patrick and say, I don't get it. What's that piece of poetry trying to tell me anyway? Or worse, when the author assumes you know something and you really don't, that's when you need to use your inference skills. And remember, an inference is what you see or read plus what you think or know, and that creates light bulb, an idea. So many of us know this kid, okay? However, even if you don't know this kid, check out that expression. Oh my goodness, he does not look happy at all. Look at that scowl. Now, you could say, I bet he's not happy. I don't know, maybe because he's wearing a pink bunny outfit? That would be my assumption, my inference. However, we could say maybe he spilled something, or maybe he got in trouble. However, based on the evidence that we have sitting in front of us, I would bet it's got to be that bunny outfit. Check this kid out. Oh boy. Does anybody get excited about that present? Now, you may not celebrate Christmas, but I'm sure you've gotten the present that's the equivalent of those tighty-whities. And you just look at that expression and you know he's not happy. And you know mom's on the other end with the camera saying, hold up your present, hold up, we got to take a picture for Aunt Martha. And he's got that look like, ugh. Now we know it's probably Christmas because in the background, I'll move my mouse right here, the background right here is the Christmas tree. And we've got all these presents right here.
Johan Dominguez, if you're in the building, please come to the front. Johan Dominguez, if you're in the building, please come to the front.
And he's just sitting there. Boy, don't you just love the announcements on the video. Bet you know where I am. You can make that inference. Anyway, so here he is sitting there with all the presents. He's got that scowl on his face. Oh, and he's holding up those yummy tighty-whities, and we know it's Christmas. We can also infer it's morning because he's in his pajamas. So, what I want you to do is just take a couple minutes and read this piece of poetry. Okay? This is a haiku. I'll read it. You follow along if you want to. Miserable afternoon. Crystals fall from the trees. Wandering around numbers. Headstones tell little. What? Remember when in class we talked about the big picture, or I'm sorry, the big question, excuse me, and one of the big questions was, what did the author think I already knew? Well, this piece of poetry kind of lends itself to just that. So here's that anchor chart right fresh from the classroom to refresh your memory. And so right away, if I was reading this piece of poetry, I would have lots of questions. For example, one of my questions might be, what are the crystals falling from the trees? Is it rain? Is it ice? I just don't know. Okay, another one might be, what are headstones? If I've never been exposed to headstones in a cemetery, this could be a problem. And most importantly, what do numbers have to do with anything? I mean, are we in math class? Is this possibly my last test that has died and buried? Oh, Mr. Wallstorff, I am so confused. I need some help here. So let's stop and make an inference about what this poem might be about. So go ahead, take a moment, and write down what you think this is about. Pause the video. I'm going to take a second, let you pause. You write down what you think this poem is about. Okay, we're back. So now let's peel back the layers of this piece of poetry. So the first thing we're going to look at is this line right here. Crystals fall from trees. Okay, so does the poet mean ice or is it water? Why is this important? Because it tells us setting. And remember, setting is not just the place, but it's the season as well. So it could be fall or winter, or spring or summer. We'll come back to that. Okay? I'm going to drop down to headstone, tell little, before I get to wandering around numbers. We'll come back to that. So, this poem takes place in the cemetery because of the headstones. And probably during fall or winter because it adds to the tone of the piece. Tone is that feeling that the poet wants you to get. Okay? Now let's go back to wandering around numbers. If you do a little research, you find out that when somebody died and they were just kind of stuck near a hospital entrance, or when somebody died in an insane asylum, they didn't want to waste time with trying to figure out who it was or, get their name. So what they did was they just assigned them a number. So on their headstone, they would put a number instead of the name and all the other epitaph. That's it, here lies so-and-so. That's an epitaph. Well, they didn't put any of that. They just stuck a number on the headstone, and that's it. Why? It was cheaper that way. So, here's what you're going to do. We're getting near the end. Just a few things to do. All right, on your piece of paper, you're going to write a paragraph summary of the lesson. Include what you have learned. Do you have any questions about what was presented? Do I need to clear something up tomorrow in class? Then you're going to write a paragraph about your interpretation of the haiku. Okay? Include the following in your paragraph. Who is the speaker? What do we know about him? Why is he in the cemetery when it's cold? Why is the haiku titled Miserable Afternoon? And what I want you to do is go beyond what's sitting in front of you on the page. I want you to really think about this piece of haiku. Thanks for watching. Oh, wait! I've got one more slide for you. We'll get to that in a moment. Did you hear about the giant rebellion they had at the North Pole? It happened about 500 years ago. Many of the elves tried to take over Santa's workshop because they just weren't happy. There was a big battle and a big fight, and the elves and Santa went back and forth and back and forth. Eventually, Santa and the elves who sided with Santa gained control of the workshop. The rebellious elves were kicked out, and they were forever known as rebels without a clause. Hey, thanks for watching, and I will see you tomorrow in class. Bye now.